President Trump has planned to release his Artificial Intelligence Action Plan, vowing to turn the country into an AI export powerhouse. He signed 3 intelligence-focused executive orders yesterday that include accelerating the sale of AI technology abroad and making it easier to build massive AI data centers. One of those orders also tackles so-called woke AI. States the federal government, quote, has the obligation not to procure models that sacrifice truthfulness and accuracy to ideological agendas, and identifies diversity, equity, and inclusion initiatives to be kept out of AI models used by the government. Joining us now, senior writer for Wired, Jake LaHotte. He's also author of the Wired's new newsletter, Inner Loop. Jake, congrats on the newsletter. But walk us through the administration's goals here in wanting to do these executive orders and what their focus on wokeism actually means in terms of tangible use of AI for the government.
I'm really not sure what the focus on quote-unquote wokeism is with these AI models, other than potentially going full Grok, which I don't think any of us would like to see ever again. But it really does kind of have this strange Cold War Soviet arms race nature to it that I think they view, and especially the Silicon Valley billionaires who I'm writing about in this newsletter, they see as inevitable. And I think for the bigger players in this space, and according to the folks I talked to for the story, like Peter Thiel, Larry Ellison, this isn't necessarily about a short-term return on investment and more about, as one of these strategists put it to me, shaping policy for generations.
The shaping policy for generations piece is one that I want to pick up on because we have seen in this latest iteration of MAGA, the Silicon Valley sect have a lot of power. Of course, Elon Musk to me and to you is emblematic, is the most emblematic of that push. But what is the lesson of Musk's flame out within the Trump orbit as other Silicon Valley power players are very much still in the mix, but they're just not as public and out front as Musk was?
So one of these guys I spoke to has been going out to the Valley to tap donors, going back to the 90s and the dot-com boom, and he said that Elon is the best example of this old axiom he has that the podiums are for the principals and stay off the podium. And I think that was the lesson for Elon is don't attach yourself so publicly to these things because for a lot of these folks behind the scenes, they will admit that, you know, even if Elon is out of the administration, he might be exploring this third party thing. They think he will move numbers to some degree in the midterms. And that damage is already baked in, as people in Washington like to say.
Yeah, but I think also the way that you highlight in your newsletter the role of someone like Peter Thiel and how that's sort of the model that the administration would prefer these tech billionaires actually follow. Why are they highlighting him?
Well, for one, Thiel was not a Johnny-come-lately like a lot of the Silicon Valley players who came in after the Butler assassination attempt. And that Thiel, with the exception of that very odd interview he had with Ross Douthat of the New York Times, he mostly stays behind the scenes and is comfortable doing that. He spreads his bets far and wide. And yes, he did pledge not to donate to any candidates in 2024, but he's already active again, donating to Mike Johnson's PAC in the House. And again, he plays the long game. He's not looking necessarily at getting a key ask or bit of legislation in the next term. He's looking to shape this in the long run.
There's a lot of reasons why the work that you're doing following this particular slice of MAGA world is important, but I also think it's going to come to a head in 2028, specifically for candidates like J.D. Vance, who have been very careful in their maneuvering around issues like TikTok, but also the Musk-Trump fallout. Can you detail for Vance specifically the way that you're thinking about this story going forward?
Sure, and this is where I find J.D. absolutely fascinating because he has this complete lock on the money train from the Silicon Valley crowd going into 2028. However, there is this increasingly growing perception among a lot of Trump advisors that too much proximity to big tech could be a real liability in that primary and in the general. And then I think the question with Vance really comes down to, okay, he has these ties with these donors, but is he going to have that same connection with the base? And I think that's a completely open question at this point.
Yeah, the money and the politics often different. Senior writer for Wired and author of the Inner Loop newsletter, Jake LaHotte, thank you. We always love having you. And the first edition of Inner Loop is available now. Really fascinating, must read. Thank you.